With NASCAR now concluding its big weekend out at the Nashville Superspeedway, where we saw the Truck Series in action with Carson Hocevar taking home the checker flag. The Xfinity Series was in action, a phenomenal race. A.J. Allmendinger got the win there. Sunday night rolls around, we see a very good race. I was kind of surprised because the short track package has not been good to us fans in the last 2 years with the next gen car, and it produced a very good race with Chastain, Ross Chastain that is, for Trackhouse Racing, taking home the checkered flag. But like I said though, all the attention is now going to turn towards the Chicago street race. This is going to be raced in downtown Chicago. It is going to be a very tight track. I am going to talk about the track layout here in a moment. But today I am here to give y'all my full-on predictions on how things are going to play out in Chicago. And we're also going to do a Pick 5 contest as always, so get your picks down below to be entered. Enough said here, and on to the intro we go.
Hey, I'm Lenny here, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
Before I give y'all my full-on predictions for the Chicago street race, I am wanting to talk about Nashville for a very brief moment, because many things took place in this very short weekend. First off, we saw Ross Chastain of Trackhouse Racing getting his first career pole in the NASCAR Cup Series, a very big milestone for him. He led the field to the green flag Sunday night, and he led 99 laps, just one short from 100. But who cares though? Ross Chastain, at the end of the day, took home the checker flag, and he's now guaranteed into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. And just because the status of his points, he is guaranteed, regardless if there's 16 or more different winners. He get the point. He's in. And saying that, I believe Ross Chastain is going to be a guinea pig, if you will, for Trackhouse Racing within the next 2 months, because they got another driver for the team by the name of Daniel Suarez. And right now, he's barely in. He's on 16th place in the point standings, I believe, just slightly over Alex Bowman. And he's going to have to make the playoffs, because if he doesn't, it's not going to look good for him in Trackhouse Racing when one car does and the other car doesn't. So they're going to maximize Suarez here. Do you go out there and have a very risky strategy and try to get the win, or do you just maximize points and just suck it up from time to time? I believe Trackhouse Racing is just going to, for the time being, trying to maximize their points, because right now it's too early to tell if there's going to be 16 or more winners. Right now we got 11 different winners, just 5 away from 16. We got Chicago coming up, Atlanta, Loudon, which is New Hampshire. We kind of see an upset from time to time. I remember Almirola winning this race a couple of years ago, Brian Vickers. A lot of things can go on here in Loudon, so you can really never count it out. I expect Richmond to be a straightforward race. No upsets there. You got Indianapolis, maybe Michigan, Watkins Glen, Daytona, and Pocono somewhere along the line. I believe we're going to see a few more winners, but 16 is highly unlikely. And I believe that last spot is going to be a very crucial spot, because it's going to be at least one driver pointing his way in. And Suarez has a driver by the name of Chase Elliott hawking him down by the week. I'm telling you folks, Chase Elliott is coming at a very quick rate, and I believe he's going to chase down these drivers in 16th and 17th place in the point standings before too long. Is he going to win? I am sure that day is going to come. But right now, though, he's trying to make it in on points, and that is more than likely going to happen at this rate, because he is very consistent. And Suarez, I'm just going to go out here and go on a limb and just say it because no one else is. Daniel Suarez, if he misses the playoffs this year and Chastain makes it as far as he did last year, which was the Final Four, I believe something has to change at Trackhouse Racing. Daniel Suarez is not cutting it. I'm going to look very dumb if Suarez gets out there in Chicago this weekend and wins. I don't think it's going to happen, spoiler alert. But if this keeps on going on, when is Justin Marks and Pitbull are going to think, man, this is just not going to work out for Daniel Suarez? He is not maximizing the team's capability of going out there, going for the championship, and going for race wins. Ross Chastain is, and Daniel Suarez isn't. Something's not adding up. And there's a hot driver market in the 2024 season at the end of it. So heading into 2025, he's obviously going to come back for 2024. But in 2025, could we see a change in that 99 car? Because there's going to be a hot market of drivers, and Daniel Suarez, if he keeps on sucking it up, I am sure they can easily find a good replacement from him. Because remember, folks, he came into the Cup Series racing for Joe Gibbs, got the boot, went to Gaunt Brothers Racing in the 96 car in 2020. Not good. He went to Stewart-Haas Racing, then to Gaunt Brothers, and he came back to Trackhouse. That's not a good Cup career besides Sonoma. Right now, it sounds like I'm bashing the driver. I like Daniel Suarez, but he's not cutting it. He's a mid driver, and he is nowhere near a championship contending driver. So, just had to go out on a limb here, folks. The same is going for a few other drivers in the Cup Series. Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece, Eric Almirola. The drivers, and Chase Briscoe. All of them drivers are getting outperformed by their teammates by a big margin, and things have to change in order for them to keep their job. But the biggest takeaway from Nashville, though, Chastain winning and Chase Elliott coming at a very quick rate to point his way into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, your 2020 Cup champion. Now let's take a look at the Chicago Street Circuit. The Chicago Street Circuit layout is a very interesting one. We go into a left-handed turn on the first straightaway. I believe this is going to be a very slow section, so expect a lot of wrecks and a lot of spinouts here this weekend. We go down a little short straightaway into turn 2, where we will have actually one of your longer straightaways here in the Chicago Street Circuit, but not your longest one. We're going to have a slight little kink in turn number 3. Turn number 4 is going to be a little bit of a harder braking zone, and turn 5 is definitely going to be a much bigger one. But the exit of turn 5 is going to be one you're going to want to hit right, because it's a long straightaway, and it's going to open up the possibility of passing a car ahead of you. Because if you completely miss your line and have a bad exit, you're losing tons of ground and momentum. Turn 6 is going to be a tight turn. It's going to be a hard braking zone. We will go down to turn 7, which will be a little bit of a quicker braking zone. Then turn 8, then turn 9. Turn 9, I believe, is going to be a very fun turn. It's like a big old oval. And turn 10 is going to be a hard braking zone. And turn 11, they're going to go up the hill to turn 12. And that's a lap at the Chicago Street Circuit. I believe it's going to be a race about survival. There's going to be tons of wrecks here. I expect the biggest incident place is going to be turn 1 and turns 4 and 5. But will I be right about my predictions here on the street circuit? We will see in next week's episode while I preview Atlanta. But now, on to my predictions for the Chicago Street Race in the NASCAR Cup. Now that we have taken a very good in-depth look of the Chicago Street Race Circuit, I am now just going to go out on a limb here, folks. I believe we're going to see a upset winner here in Chicago. I believe the race is going to be, for one, a survival race, but you also got to have a little bit of a road course background history, because if you don't, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and it's all going to be about passing cars here at this tight circuit. And that's why I believe the experienced road racers are going to excel here at this tight track in Chicago. And saying that all, Michael McDowell, your 2021 Daytona 500 winner, the driver of the number 34 car for Front Row Motorsports, is going to go to victory lane and lock himself into the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Michael McDowell, as of lately, besides Nashville, has been very hot. He's kind of auditioning for a ride at the moment for the 10 car at Stewart-Haas Racing. And I believe if he goes out here to Chicago and wins this race, I believe it's going to put a lot of heat and pressure on both Tony Stewart and Gene Haas at Stewart-Haas Racing. Because Michael McDowell may not bring the sponsorship money And neither is Josh Berry nor Ryan Preece. And look what's going to happen to probably both of them. Haas is going to be on the hood of their race cars. And right now, Tony Stewart has made it clear he's not caring for daddy's money. And he's wanting to go for talented drivers. Michael McDowell doesn't really have the funding for him, but he does have talent. And I believe if he wins this race, an enormous amount of heat is going to be brought upon them two owners. Second place is going to be the 16 car of the Dinger, A.J. Allmendinger. A.J. Allmendinger has been a phenomenal road course racer in his NASCAR tenure. He won Watkins Glen back in the year of 2014 in the 47 car for JTG Daugherty Racing, which is owned by Jody and Tad Schechter and NBA legend Brad Daugherty. That was the team's first career win, and they eventually won again in 2023 in the Daytona 500. So good for them. They're making the playoffs, but yeah, Allmendinger. He's racing for Colleague now. He won the Indianapolis road course back in 2021. Thanks Chase Briscoe for Allmendinger's win. Briscoe spun out Denny Hamlin. Briscoe supposedly did not get the message, and he wrecked the 11 car thinking he was going to go for the win, which he didn't, unfortunately. But I believe he should have not gotten that penalty, but he did. And he wrecked the 11. 11 wrecked out, so did the 14. 16 got by, won the race. The story is, though, Allmendinger has a lot of good wins in his past in road courses in the Cup Series, and he's going to be a force to reckon with here at Chicago, a track where we're going to see breaking points being very important to get right, because if you don't, you're going to pay the consequences. All right, third place, though, is going to be William Byron. He is a very consistent driver, and no matter what track you put him on, he is going to be competitive, and I believe in Chicago, he is going to be up front. Fourth place, though, is going to be the 45 car of Tyler Reddick for 23XI Racing. Had an outstanding qualifying effort out in Nashville, where he qualified on the front row in second place, led a lot of laps. Had a tire go down or go off his car when he was coming back to pit lane to get it tightened up, and he spun, lost a handful of laps, and his day was practically over. He's going to go to Chicago with a big chip on his shoulder and want to turn around his season before the playoffs start. And I believe he'll do that with a fourth place result in Chicago. Fifth place, though, is going to be a driver I sort of think is like a William Byron. It should be William Byron compared to Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch has been great in his entire career. No matter what track, what circuit you put him on, he is going to be competitive. Is he going to win this week in Chicago? Maybe. So Kyle Busch is going to have to be in my top 5, and he should also be in your fantasy league's driver lineup. So we got Michael McDowell winning. Allmendinger is going to come on with a runner-up. Third place is going to be William Byron. Fourth place is going to be Tyler Reddick. And fifth is going to be Kyle Busch. One name I have not brought up is Ross Chastain. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff and not do well in Chicago. I believe he will be competitive, but not my top 5, though. We see a trend this year when a guy wins a race, the following race he struggles. So I believe that trend is not going to continue in Chicago, because Chicago is really a track you really can't go off of data. And I just think it's going to be a lot of unknowns, and that's why I don't got Chastain up there. Dark horse is going to be Jenson Button in the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing. I should really say Stewart-Haas Racing, because that's where they're really getting the car prepped and made up for the Chicago race. They're going to give Jenson Button the best car they possibly can, because at the end of the day, though, he's a former Formula One world champion. I think the year was 2009 with Braun, but totally for another video. But Jenson Button, no. There's some people saying that he's auditioning for a ride here. These next 2 races, he's got this in Indianapolis. Is it for the 10 car? I don't know. I believe there's a lot of people in line for this 10 car. And Chicago is going to be a big race for them drivers, because you got Michael McDowell with a road racing background, and Jenson Button, Harrison Burton, Zane Smith. I believe he's going to get his feet dirty in Xfinity. I may be wrong. Then you got Todd Gilliland. There's a lot of drivers in line, so keep a close eye on that. I believe by August we'll have a better understanding on who's going to be the one replacing him, or if he stays or not. I don't know. Time will tell. But enough said here in today's episode. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please like and subscribe and have a great day.